this is Aidai, and you're listening to my podcast, a Kima Voice production. Today, I'm talking to Sanat Koshen, a 2022 graduate who is now an experienced advisory associate at PwC. Thank you for joining me today, Sanat.
Good morning, Aidai. Thank you for having me. I'm very delighted and very honored to be your first guest on your podcast. Thank you for having me once again.
So let's bring listeners up to speed. You graduated with a degree in economics and developed a strong interest in strategy consulting and data analytics. Currently, you work at PwC Kazakhstan's advisory division, specializing in deals and transactions. Previously, you led a team at Red Bull Kazakhstan and gained valuable experience during an internship in sales controlling at EFS Kazakhstan. At university, you showed your leadership skills at presidents of the student government. Outside of work, you channel your creativity as a part-time DJ. So what are you doing now? And what does a typical day look like for you?
Yeah, great homework on my LinkedIn page, Aidai. I really appreciate that. Yeah, that's basically what I'm doing currently. I work at PricewaterhouseCoopers at the deals department. We basically work on variable mergers and acquisitions. We support them throughout their mergers and acquisition cycle. But mostly we work on the part that we call financial due diligence, which is basically covering all the red flags that the potential targets can show and what future owners of these assets may deal with in the future. And as it states also, at evenings I work as a DJ, and I don't know which one would be my main job and which one I would call my part-time job, because it always varies depending on my availability, depending on my workload at PwC. I'm DJing this evening also at Platforma. I know that probably this podcast will be online later, but if you want to, you can come this evening. I would welcome that. And that's basically how I spent my regular day, I would say.
Wow, that's really interesting. So let's talk about your personal journey. What's one experience from your university years that had a lasting impact on how you approach your career today?
During my time at the student government, since I was a member of the student government for 2 years, on my third year, 2021, I was Chingiz Amirkhans. Chingiz, if you're listening this, big warm hello to you from Almaty. Chingiz is vice president of administration, and later he convinced me to join student government later as a president, and that was wonderful 2 years I spent working with great people at KIMAP, students, academia and stuff. I really enjoyed my experience back then, and I learned a lot from a lot of people, including, of course, KIMAP Career Center. Big shout out to Elmira. And I guess sometimes in my fourth year, I was looking for any opportunities on the job market, and that's when I learned about Pricewaterhouse and learned about deals. And that's how I became the member of PwC deals team. And I've been a deals team member ever since.
I'm glad that student government gave you this opportunity to show up. So every student faces challenges, as you know. And what was one of yours, and how did it shape who you are right now?
Well, I would say throughout my high school years, throughout my first years at KIMAP, I was terrible at time management. And the older I got, my third year, my fourth year, I've been taking part-time jobs. I've been starting to DJ. The curriculum at school at KIMAP was getting harder and harder, and it was a challenge to really merge everything in my everyday life. And I would say that learning to eliminate my procrastination and starting to really get into time management, really prepare everything in advance, scheduling everything. That was a really essential part of my growing up as an individual, as a specialist. And I'm really glad for all the hard work that I did, especially considering that my final years at KIMAP were happening during the COVID-19. And, working and studying from home by itself is really a hard choice, or a hard task. I'm sorry. You need to really be disciplined and do not show any weakness day in, day out. And I would say that was the biggest challenge during KIMAP days.
Mm-hmm. So can you call yourself a disciplined person right now?
I would say so, especially considering myself during my student years and currently. But I'm not satisfied with my current level of discipline. I believe that it's a ongoing work, and I will try to improve and just beat myself from yesterday.
Okay. And about your post-graduation, so when you graduated, did life after university go the way you expected, or were there unexpected twists?
I would say mostly it was going according to my plan that I had previously. I enrolled at KIMEP once again at master's level, also at economics, thanks to all the wonderful professors that I had during my bachelor years, Dharma Dumarov and Nadim Nakvi. Big thanks to them. I was expecting, all my 4 years at KIMEP. If you study at KIMEP, you expect that probably you'll be working at Big Four, especially with my major in economics. I ended up at PricewaterhouseCoopers, but one of the most, I would say, unexpected things would have been meeting my wife during my final year at KIMEP. We're now married, of course. We had our wedding this August, and that was one of the things that I was not planning to happen as early in my life. Probably sometimes late 20s, early 30s, but I'm really happy. I'm really glad. I'm the most lucky person to meet her and most lucky person to be able to call her my wife and hear her calling me husband. That's one of the parts of my life that was not planned, I would say. That was a lucky coincidence, let's call it.
Oh, that's very cute. Congratulations on your wedding.
Thank you very much.
Let's talk about your career development at PwC. So how did you land your role at PwC? And what excites you the most about the work you're doing now?
One of the most interesting things about working at PwC is their commitment to sustainable self-learning. You're always learning something new because the market doesn't stay on its place. There are always news. There are always things happening with your rivals, with your market rivals, and you need to grow every day. You need to beat yesterday's yourself. And the approach that PricewaterhouseCoopers takes is 10% of the theoretical learning and 90% of the practical learning. And ever since from my first day at PwC, from my internship days, we've been working hard. The hours at Big Four are always late. And I used to spend 80, 90 hours weeks at the PwC with no weekends. And I would say that that's a great school for every aspiring specialist. Doesn't matter if you plan to work at finance in the future or not. Just the soft and hard skills that you gain at PricewaterhouseCoopers are amazing, and it's really hard to match that anywhere else. One of the things that I'm working on currently is trying to learn more efficient ways to really absorb and transform the data that we're working on to gain more valuable insight from this data, because the amount of data that we work on is getting bigger and bigger every year. And we really have to tackle these issues without losing on the speed that we're working with, because speed always of the essence in finance. And I'm trying to learn the new ways to work with this data, to firstly transform it, then analyze it, visualize it to our clients, and to make them gain more value from the work that we're doing, because we're not just showing them the red flags and the upsides from the possible deal, but we also want to make them gain more from the target that they're getting. We call it synergies. If the buyer takes the target and they're really compatible, they ought to gain more value from the deal that they had before that. And that's where we want to go in the future. We want to provide more value.
That sounds really interesting and really difficult, actually. Was it difficult for you to get into PwC?
I would say so, yeah. I had the pleasure of knowing a lot of people that worked at PwC before having my first interviews, and that helped a lot because I knew a lot about the culture at PwC. I knew a lot about the process of recruitment there. However, the competition is fierce, and graduate aspires to work at PwC. And also the field that we're working at is not as broad as assurance, as audit. And as far as I know, the year that I went to PricewaterhouseCoopers, we only had three associates getting in the deals team, and two of them were from. That shows just how strong the class of 2022 was, and just how competitive KeyMap is at the job market. And I believe that my 4 years at KeyMap gave me great advantage comparing with other candidates. And that's how I got there, but the competition was crazy.
Okay. About the lessons that you learned throughout the years, what's one piece of advice you wish you'd been given when you were just starting out?
Do you mean my student years or postgraduate years?
Let's talk about your student years.
Okay. One of the things that I was always preaching to freshmen when I've been studying is just don't be shy. Say hello to the person that you're seeing every morning. Meet new acquaintances. Don't worry about how you'll show up. Just be yourself and meet as many people as you can, because these 4 years at the university that you're having will be your golden years. You will be reminiscing about them throughout your whole life. And I would call it a challenge to meet as many person that you can. And I'm really lucky to meet a lot of wonderful people when I was studying at KeyMap. Most of them are my closest friends right now. And that's the lesson, that's the advice I would give to current freshmen, current students. Just meet as many people as you could. You never know when you will need their help. You never know what they're capable of. Just sit down with them, talk with them, learn more about them. There might be most wonderful person that you will meet. You never know who they will be in your future. So just meet them, talk with them. That's what would I advise.
Okay. I think talking about failures and failing in life, I failed a lot in life a lot, and students do. And can you share one moment when a failure, a big one, became a turning point for your growth?
My friends love joking about how I never lost at KeyMap, especially because the person who was losing was one of my best friends, Nurjigit Kobjasar. I remember we were competing at Mr. KeyMap, in which beat him. I was first and he was second. But one of the most fresh in my memory losses, I would say, is losing the Freshman of the Year contest at KeyMap Awards in my first year. I was just starting out, and that was really hurtful, I would say, because that was one of my dreams ever since I was in high school, just to enroll at KeyMap, start really aggressively, meet new people, network with everyone, and then just winning this golden piece of pie. However, that was not the case. I was really lost and sad at the moment. However, thanks to my friends, thanks to everyone around me who were showing their appreciation for myself, I was able to stand up and just continue my path. It would have been easy to just, get lazy at this point, because just to think that everything is lost now, I don't need to have this dream path of KeyMapian that I was dreaming of because of the unlucky start. However, I was ready to just continue my path, I would say. And that's the lesson here. Let your losses to toughen up yourself. I would even suggest to chase losses, because as time passes by and you get more acquainted to losses, you start to chase all the opportunities. You stop being afraid of being lost, and you just always trying new things, whether you sure in yourself getting there or not. You chase all the new opportunities, and doesn't matter win or lose, you always appreciate the experience, and that's the beauty of it, I would say.
That's very inspiring. The very interesting question, I would say, is if you could relive 1 year of university, which year would it be and why?
It would be really hard to choose. All of the years at KeyMap were amazing. And choosing 1 year, I would choose probably my freshman year. because if I start from my freshman year once again, I would be able to relive all 4 years. But, just the contrast that you have between your experience at school and your experience at KIMAP and learning new things, meeting new people, that's what I relive once again, probably. Just, I really envy those freshmen that are going around the campus currently, because they're about to have wonderful 4 years ahead of them. And I guess my freshman year would be the one because of that.
Okay. And for students feeling unsure about their future, what's one thing they can focus on to move forward confidently?
Just never stop learning. Don't be afraid to try and learn new things. The more you know, the easier it would be to edge out your competition at the job market. And the job market is fierce currently. People think that without experience, without the proper knowledge, it's really hard to gain any even internships. And especially for finance and accounting students, I would suggest preparing to their professional certificates from their second and third years, because once you have ACCA or CFA certificates, you would be able, so many new doors will be open to you. And I guess that education at KIMAP is really essential in preparing yourself for these certificates, especially on the earliest exams that you have. As far as I know, KIMAP has now 9 exemptions out of 13 at the ACCA for accounting students, which is perfect. So just don't give up on yourself. Always try to learn and prepare to every day as you would be preparing for the most expensive, the most essential exam of your life, and treat it as the most essential day. Just learning and don't procrastinate, basically.
So it's been such a pleasure having you on today's Sanat. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll be joining by another amazing guest. You can find all our episodes on YouTube or on our Instagram account, KIMAP Voice. On my die, this has been the production of KIMAP Voice. Thanks to Cole, our producer, and all our listeners for tuning in. See you next time.